Local government matters now, and many people have been trying to cross the Kosi Bay. In fact, completely different story. Let's go back right to the beginning. Many people have been trying to cross the Kosi Bay border post into South Africa from Mozambique. Some were left frustrated at delays yesterday. Let's find out what the situation is there today from eNCA's Mawande Keswa, who's been watching that story for us. And Mawande, we heard reports yesterday about people attempting to cross illegally, and the focus is really on the state of our borders and the security around there. What is being said about measures being put in place to try and ensure that those borders are secured, particularly with the border to Mozambique and into KwaZulu-Natal?
Hi, Tulas. Well, I did manage to speak to Department of Home Affairs, and they said that they had deployed personnel to the Kosi Bay borderline to ensure that in the event that there are people who attempt to cross the border illegally, they are apprehended, because what had been reported is that there were people coming from Mozambique into the country, and what would transpire is, or what would allegedly transpire rather, is that some of them would already be holding test results for COVID that came out positive, while others would not possess these test results for various reasons. The most common is economic factors around the cost of the test in Mozambique and not being able to actually afford the test. So then they would attempt to enter the country illegally. So the departments had deployed personnel to ensure that they deal with those who break the law, and indeed yesterday that transpired. If I'm not mistaken, there were about 23 or at least 23 people that were arrested for crossing the border illegally. So the department itself really did take that to consideration, and they deployed people. Hence, they were able to apprehend the people that they apprehended yesterday.
And am I correct in understanding that part of the problem at that particular border post, Mawande, was the time that people spent queuing at the border, with the result that some were able to slip through the border?
Well, the main issue was around the long lines, as you rightfully say. There's one mobile laboratory, and yesterday really holiday makers started to make their way back into the country, so there was quite an influx of people, and that caused those delays. People were coming in groups, large families and so forth, and the laboratory itself was inundated with high numbers of people wanting to test for COVID-19, because people didn't possess results that were not older than 72 hours, and as a result they then needed to test. But the situation, Tulasizwe, is far different from that which we experienced yesterday. If you may see right in front of the camera there, that is the mobile laboratory, and there's no one that is in the line for a test. The situation is completely turned. It would seem as though they managed to get those numbers out the way. There were people who spent the night in Mozambique and in South Africa. They had to come back in the morning to continue the process of testing and waiting for the results. So it would seem as though that backlog that they were dealing with is a thing of the past, and they're managing to conduct those tests quite well. But one would say that because yesterday really was the first day since the border was opened, there were many more people than the people that we are seeing here today.
Yeah, and lastly, Mawande, do I understand you to be saying that part of the challenge is that many travelers believe that it would be cheaper for them to have the tests done at the border, at the point at which they want to cross into South Africa, than getting it done in Mozambique?
I think that would be one of the cases, Tulasizwe. But another case is that from the people that I spoke with, they were under the impression that their test would be valid for 14 days. And so if they come back on the 13th day, the very same test results that they used to exit the country, they'd be able to use the very same test results to enter the country once again. But that was not to be the case.
Yeah.
They say Mozambican authorities did accept those test results. However, South Africa, on the other hand, when they had to enter the country again, did not, because they accept test results that are no older than 72 hours. And that's where the confusion or the challenge then occurred. Fortunately for them, testing is provided here, and it's at a much cheaper rate than what they would have paid if they did the results in Mozambique, as you say. So opting to do the test results here for about 170 rand, I beg your pardon, is much cheaper than spending what they said to me is about 1,200 rand if they do the tests in Mozambique.
I see. So it really is a situation of people trying to understand the rules as they apply right now in as far as how old the test should be. Live for us from Kosi Bay in KwaZulu-Natal there, that's eNCA's Mawande Keswa.